Hi guys, this is Crossy of Eclipse Gaming TV and welcome to my take on the ESWC 2013 Women's LAN Finals, which was squared off between Druidz and Team Alternate. We are going back a couple of weeks here as I'm a little bit late to the party, and this will be appearing on YouTube as my first official shoutcaster commentary that I throw up aside from the pilot episode, which was exactly that. So all the technical hitches have been ironed out, sorry, I should say. But if there's any that you do spot, feel free to drop those into the comments section. Main reason I've chosen this game to start off with is I did throw up a post on the new Esports Heaven website related to this, because 3 of the Druidz players have left, taken 2 of the Team Alternate players that they defeated in this final, and are planning to set up their new team in 2014 once their contract with Druidz comes to an end, with the aim of trying to challenge their male counterparts and really trying to grow pushing forward, trying to improve females in gaming, not female gaming, and there is a difference. I'll try and cover that as best we can and give you some thoughts on it along the way. Whether this will be a big talking point or not, I have no idea at this point. It's getting a little bit of interest from what I've seen, but not a massive amount, and whether it will rock the foundations of FPS and female involvement in it, then fantastic if it does. We'll just have to wait and see and find out, I guess. So we are pretty much good to go. I've got this all set up ready for the first round. First map is Dust 2. So let's see what we have here. Unfortunately, as much as I'd love to get live action on the go, I can't, because my internet connection is horrific. There's no other words for it. So I'm stuck just to YouTube for the time being. Hopefully it won't be too much of an issue as we get underway here. So first round of the ESWC 2013 Grand Finals of the female competition. Lining up for Druidz, we've got Julie, Sephi, Sonia, Lilsan and Selen. For Alternative, we've got Zaz, Beyond, Shushu, Irene and Kathy. And we've got a short push coming up here. Irene gets 1 frag and Julie fires that one straight back. And Julie's got her second on the board, grabbing Irene as well. So numbers favour Druidz so far. No, they don't. It's brought straight back by Shushu on the short area. Take down to 13 HP, but she gets 2 in a bit of a battle with Selen now, potentially, if she decides to push up, and does. Got 13 HP on the alternate player. Wasn't able to come out on top, so it's all down to Julie then. Got the bomb to defuse and isn't able to do it. Caught in the crossfire, and that is going to be first round going to alternate. Now, this is a best of 3 competition, just to give you the heads up. So we will be playing Inferno as the second map. Whether that deciding third map will be required or not, we will soon see as this develops, no doubt. A similar kind of setup. We've got 2 players pushing up short, aggressive, so let's get on board there. Sephi with the team kill, grabbing Julie as she tries to step across the doorway, but Sephi and Sonia pick up a couple of frags to make up for that one. Kathy does grab Sephi there through the long doors. And I'll try and get in behind, and that's exactly what they do, as they do pick up a frag trying to push behind, and Kathy grabs Selen as well. So for Druidz, they can be fairly happy they managed to cut down a couple of those weapons, but I think that's all they're going to be able to do here. And it's down to Lilsan, who's caught in the long area, and he's taken down. So Alternate take a 2-0 lead. Going to expect to piggyback through and get the third one as well, as they go guns versus pistols. No surprise buy coming in from the Druidz side. You can only really get away with that on terrorists, and even then it is a bit of a gamble. On board with Sonia, she's got a bit of action from short, taken down by 11 HP as Irene is able to get up and takes down Julie, who will have had that called. And we've got a bit of a duel now. On board with Kathy still. She's got Selen there, keeping her interested. And Selen pushes around and gets aggressive and does take down the player. Zaz firing back and evening things up. And then Shushu again brings numbers in favour of Team Alternate. Lil San caught in the lower area. Probably going to get hunted down. I don't want to give her the opportunity to get picks off, as Shushu nearly did, taken down to about 30 HP as we got a pause up and coming. Says we got to get that on the next freeze time by the looks of it, but no, time has paused, so we are going to take that pause. Not sure how long this is going to take, so I guess it might be a good point to start talking about the situation at hand between these two. A couple of the alternate players joining up with 3 of the Druidz players, leaving the French contingent of Sefi and Selin without a team. Main reason that's been cited for that is that the 2 French players work full-time and couldn't commit quite the same amount of commitment to it. Or couldn't put the same amount of commitment to it, I should say, as the rest of the team, who have got ambitions not only to be dominating in the female scene, but also to push on and take on their male counterparts. So that's the aim. Whether that will happen or not, we'll have to keep an eye out and see. This would be a good opportunity for us to see the skills of these players and whether they might have enough to match up going forward. Much unpaused, and we've got the first buy versus buy. Notice 3 players from Druidz have favoured the silenced M4. I would favour the silenced M4 if they carried the same amount of bullets in it, 30 and 90, but if these girls are anything like me and tend to spray a little bit too much, then there just ain't enough bullets in that gun to get you through, unfortunately. Lil San burning quite a few of those bullets, all 20 of them in fact, spraying through into the mid doors, and doesn't do too much with it. Action on short as Selin grabs Kathy, so numbers already favouring Druidz as Sefi gets a frag as well. Zaz does get Julie in the meantime though, as the Druidz players take control of short again, where there are a couple of corpses left in their wake, and it's all down to the Swedish player Zaz. What can she pull off here? Selin would be easy pickings on 12 HP. There are 3 players holding fast on that bomb, which is down on the short area. Zaz has to go for it. Steps, picks the angle. Doesn't manage to get the bomb. That flash might have actually given her the opportunity to grab the bomb and barrel to sight and at least get a plant in, but instead she decided to go for it. Missed in her attempt to go for picking up the package, and it is first round on the board for Druidz here. All to play for. This round could be crucial. On board with Zaz as she comes through and helps an aggressive push out onto long, which has worked at least to the point of getting them to the pit. That smoke on the corner gun is going to give them a little bit of cover if they want it. Auto Director's dropped me on board with Julie, sitting in a rather strange position, but is likely to get action from below sight at A, which is where she's currently situated, I believe. No, I take that back. It looks like she's on short steps below Sefi. Selin, in the meantime, has got a bit of action herself as she takes down Zaz on the crossover. There is another player that we know about that is making their way there, and Sefi is able to grab that frag. So a bomb has made it to site and will be planted by Irene. Got beyond for backup as well down in the long area. Let's see what sort of retake of Druidz got on their mind here. Sonia pushed in behind long with the very fetching rainbow blade that she's sporting there. Selin grabs Irene, and that is going to be the defuse. So Druidz pick up another round. As the score was displaying slightly oddly, it is 3-2 in favour of the German-based Team Alternate outfit. They do have a Spanish and Swedish player in the mix. Apologies, I realise I haven't been showing you guys the scoreboard quite as often as I would have liked. As Selin picks up an opening frag again, grabbing Zaz, and Sonia does exactly the same thing, taking down Irene. Kathy trying to fire back though. As we see a mid-to-B attempt, Julie guns down one, Selen guns down Kathy as well in the crossfire. So with two guns firing at you and all you've got is a pistol in hand, you are in a fairly difficult spot, you would imagine. Even if you can go and aim for the face, as Shushu's trying to do here, going for face shots, shooting in the general direction, but Lil San is able to pick up the frag, and that is evening things up at 3-all in favour of nobody, because it's even. Oh dear. I was saying I wasn't rusty at this whole commentating thing, but clearly I am. I expect a few more absolute mares to come through. A look at the radar, so we've got the fairly standard setup. Zaz and Irene have managed to get themselves out towards long. Shushu and Beyond will make their way up short. They're a little slower than they have been. Smokes in the corner are going to give back up, and Kathy's managed to work her way down into the lower area. Selen has been taken down as I got tabbed out. Apologies for that. As Shushu has her face ripped off by Julie up at the barrels. She's got a bit of backup coming in, but it's a little too slow. She's taken down by Irene, and Sefi goes down as well. And both of them put themselves in positions where they're just a little bit too exposed. Sonia on the rotate with the AWP is taken very quickly by Kathy, who steps through and grabs both of the Druidz players hanging around CT area, and they get the advantage back in their favour after losing 3 rounds on the spin. Still a dangerous situation for them though. If Druidz can pick up this round, it will reset the money for alternate, and while they will be able to probably buy next round, it's going to cut any advantage they've got of losing rounds on the spin. Full buy in effect as Sefi goes down straight away, so that's nice work as she was caught by Zaz, and good control of her AK, managing to find the shot she wanted through the smoke as well, so that's fairly unsighted. Alternate have numerical advantage, going to be working the short mid area, which is fairly vital. Lil San gets one. Opportunity for others, but doesn't take it. Does manage to get Irene down to very low, only 11 HP to her name. Bomb's going to be planted in the B site. Fairly comfortable site to get into, but also fairly easy to retake if you go about it in the right way. Julie flings that nade in, hoping she might catch Irene below the window, but she hasn't taken that spot. Got Selen at door helping out. Julie grabs a low HP Irene. Kathy is able to pick up the 2 Druidz players, and that is 5-3. So the German base side building up a couple of round advantage. It seems to be going in swings and roundabouts. They got the first 3. Druidz snapped back with another 3, and then can alternate take it to 3 and beyond. Can they open this up here on the arguably easier terrorist side of Dust 2? They've got a good chance of getting at least 3 in a row as they push through, but Lil San is able to grab Kathy. She's been fairly quiet, but has made some good looking frags. Nearly takes one of her teammates' helmet off there. As we see a push up smoke, which is all but standard play now, and they are able to get quite easily onto the A site. Got Sefi on short. Goins tries to help her teammate out. Try and make the box shot if they can. Sefi does grab Zaz, but Irene is there to mop up and grab her. Numbers do favour Druidz here, and Lil San stepping in behind grabs Shushu, so it is 4 versus 2, and a couple of the Druidz players have managed to grab some of these fallen weapons. Irene trying to keep it tight down there on the short area, as she does get one, but it is going to be the defuse coming in, and the rot has been stopped. Very good eco round from Druidz, set up straight away by Lil San's pick in the tunnels area from there, and she was also influential in coming behind and managing to grab one of the alternate players, and that even a challenge through the long doors area. So credit to Lil San for the great work on that round there. Looks like we might be seeing an aggressive B push here potentially. Let's get on board and see if they do push on that. No, they don't. Smoke slows them down. You could get away with it a little more in the other incarnations of Counter-Strike, but on Go, it pretty much is suicide to try and push through a smoke. So quite wisely they hold back from that. Sonya's got a bit of action in mid, just spamming through. Is smoked off, so all we can do is speculate and crack off a couple of shots. I don't think she tagged anyone to any real consequence. Lil San gets one, Sonya gets the other. Good crossfire between these two from B ramp and from CT. Kathy has got herself into the site with Shushu there, the bomber. But with 4 versus 2 in favour of Druidz. You see them bringing this even. A nice work from Sonya. Gets the good control, finding the face of Shushu, and then just carried on shooting as the other player stepped into her eye line. And that is another couple of frags for her. Notice for Druidz, Selin leading the way with 10 and 5. Sonya and Julie both fragging well, and Lil San sitting there on 6. But a couple of those frags have been very useful coming in on the rotate. Beyond looking fairly quiet for alternate, and so is Shushu. She goes down. Only got 3 so far. This is a lockdown coming in. That's the way to Eco Bash, and no players go down for Druidz. So they once again take the advantage in this game. It's all very tight affair though. No one team really pulling away from this or managing to put considerable momentum together. It's a few rounds on the bounce and then it switches back the other way. Seeing an aggressive push coming in from the Druidz team here. Lil San needs to get in and back up, and that is exactly what she does. Just about keeping Julie alive, stepping around the corner. It's one of those, if she'd gone down in that situation, there would be some serious rage going on at the bait. But Lil San steps the corner just in time. Manages to avoid the wrath of a teammate Scorn for the time being. Beyond's got up onto the site, got some work to do here. Sephi sitting in the smoke and had an opportunity to get one of the crosses. Selin though on the short, grabs Shushu straight away. Irene is going to get the plant down probably, but that's about all she can do. 2 versus 5, so collect the $800. Try and drop 1 or 2 of the Druidz guns if you can, and then push on for the next round. That's Beyond going down, and Selin from the short area is able to grab Irene, and that is going to be 7-5 in favour of Druidz. Selin collecting frags in bunches over the last round or 2, and has managed to push herself to 14 and 5. Very good score. Sephi at the bottom on an even 6 and 6. Finances dictate an eco round. No, it doesn't. He says that as the alternate team go for a full buy, pretty much. 1 Galil in the play. Money not looking particularly good, but they have lost a few rounds on the bounce, so chances are they could scrape together a buy next time out if they particularly wanted to. I'm going for a similar kind of setup to what they've been trying, short and long, and it hasn't worked because Julie's grabbed Beyond, trying to step before anything even happened. She's dropped all the way back from the site area, which is where she was, locking it down too short. Smoke on the crossover is a bit of a red herring really, because the alternate players are still hanging around in this long area, haven't committed to that. Interesting setup here. Selin and Sephi seems to like doubling up on short, and I guess that's not the worst play in the world as we see the push finally come in. Irene does get across, and the second smoke is there and giving them the opportunity. So it just leaves Druidz to pretty much spam through that and wait for the plant to happen and then try for a retake. And with Zaz grabbing Sephi, that is not the way to retake. Getting yourself picked off as Kathy grabs Lil San. Sonya in the meantime firing back for Druidz, trying to keep them in this, and Julie gets another frag as well. She's potentially cut down, but Selin comes in and saves her bacon. And it is left to Julie to mop up with a lot of help from Selin, and that is going to be 8-5. Just going back to what I was talking about on this short area, you've got to make sure that you've got some kind of control over what happens at mid, otherwise you've got players running around and they can go anywhere. They can work a mid to B. You can get a player come through and cause distractions in CT spawn and get anyone that might be, say, below sight. You can go through the tunnels. From there, you've got work room to work. You can do a short and long split. This time we're seeing a full long. Lil San and Julie getting aggressive on the tunnels as they have done on a number of occasions. Sonia locking down the mid area. She's got no action there whatsoever. We are instead going to see a long push. Irene leading the charge as she has done a couple of times. Maybe they think of her as the team's entry fragger. Gets up onto the site and throws a fairly customary flash onto short. Lil San grabs Zaz. That must have been from behind. And that is exactly where it was. So they know that Lil San's coming. Let's get on board. Can she make the frag? No, she can't. Kathy holds the angle very nicely. Julie does grab Kathy in the meantime, but the damage has been done. Alternate have the advantage. No, they don't. Sonia cuts that, but Beyond opens that straight back up again. It's Julie, last girl standing. Going to try for the old smoke on the site and defuse, which she does. And they try and spam through. I think this might have worked. No, it hasn't. Good work from Irene in the end. That's one of those scary moments when someone does that. You think, yeah, I need to make this shot, don't I? And they do. So alternate bring one back, and they needed that. They were on a bit of a slide, and if they can bring it back to 8-7, then they're not going to be happy with the performance, but I think they'll be happier by a long shot compared to what we have now. Again, they're pushing on this long area, and there's a lot of Druidz players backing up there. They've got 3 there in total. They all decide they're going to fall out, though, as I get tabbed out at the all-important moment. Back in, and let's see what happens. So Zaz went down. Shushu's on very low HP, but Selen and Seppi did go down. So kind of gutted we missed that. I'm sure you guys will have still seen the action on your screens, but I don't have a bloody clue what happened, to be honest. All I do know is that Druidz are up against it 2 versus 3.5. Shushu on very low HP is not going to cause too much of a threat. But then again, neither's Lil San because she's just been taken out by Kathy watching the rotate from behind. So all down to the Spanish player, Sonia, what she got in the tank. Manages to pick up 1. Dropping alternate guns isn't going to be all that useful in the final round. So end of first set as the console flags up. For those of you more familiar with the English way of saying it, that is the end of the half. And it is going to be 8-7. Druidz leading things off on the terrorist site. Are we going to see any interesting plays coming in here? Well, I think we've got potential for it, as Alternate weren't that aggressive. They didn't go for a full team push into B. Maybe there's a reason behind that. And you'll see 3 of their players, Zaz, Beyond and Shushu, struggling very much on the frag count. Seeing a slow build up, we've got Sonia in mid, has run straight past Zaz. Has Zaz picked up on that? Yes, she has, and picks up the frag straight away. Sephi, in the meantime, does fire 1 back, so numbers even so far. On board Julie, she leads the charge into the B site, sees one at car from that flash that went out, and Kathy is able to pick up the frag by some miracle. She can't have been on much HP at all, but it does mean it's a 3v3. No, it's not, as we see the push into the site. Lil San's thrown in a couple of tags, but not too very much, and both players are over 2/3. That's Zaz and Beyond outside the site, with Irene coming in as well. Selen's going to try and work the plant. Maybe she's not. Instead choosing to push out the site. It's worked. Lil San's got 1. Selen's got 1. That's Irene going down. They will get the plant in now with 45 seconds left on the clock. And Zaz was able to tag both of those players that went aggro out of the door, but wasn't able to pick up a frag on either of them. So 2 versus 1. They know Zaz was in the B ramp area, and Selen steps out and is able to pick up that frag. So Druidz have the advantage at 9-7. We'll probably want to take that to 11-7 if they can. And really good gutsy play from the girls there. 3 versus 2 up against it. the textbook teaches you to get that plant down as soon as you can and defend from there. Instead, both of them pushed through the door, caught one player watching window who was completely unaware, had their back to them, picked up the second, and Zaz was just a little bit too far away to do more than tag both of the players down to low HP. So could have worked out differently, but it didn't. And to be fair, that is fairly unexpected to see two players pushing out of the site. You would expect to see a plant 95 times out of 100, something like that. Got Lil Sun going to be walking up short. Playing this very cautiously, going to be checking the spots. Checking the boxes, checking the barrels. Of course, she doesn't know that the two players from A have pushed down to long. Sephi and Selen will know about that very soon as they get the double attack as they try and push through. Sonia pushes up onto A site though, and we are going to see probably a pincer movement as Lil San goes and steps out, gets herself into a duel with Irene. Selen grabs Zaz in the meantime. So a 4 versus 4, but two very low HP players. Oh, I take that back. It's now 3 versus 2. Selen and Sephi with frags. Irene grabs Sephi in the meantime. And Sonia does cut one down as well. So it is last girl standing for Kathy. What can she do? Up on short of the P250. Timer ticking away to the point that even if she sprinted for the site, she wouldn't get the defuse. Going to try and save that P250. And is able to do so. So 10-7. Still a chance for Druidz to piggyback through and get one more. As we mentioned right at the start, it's difficult to surprise by after losing the first two on third round, so they do stick with their pistols. What kind of setup have we got coming in from Druidz? Well, they're not being quite as aggressive on the long area, which is trebled up with Irene, Zaz and Shushu there, and Kathy's going to walk back towards the site and keep an eye on short. But the idea is if there is an aggressive play into long, there'll be enough of them to deal with it and cut that one down. Does give the advantage for the girls if they want to move through and attack this B site. Of course, they can't sprint outside the map. That's a terrible line. Kathy steps into the mid area. Lil San picking up opening frag on Zaz. Irene's managed to push through and is going behind T-Spawn, but needs to work a little quicker than that potentially, as it is action all over A. So Beyond and Irene, the two players going on the rotate.
Bomb has been planted.
Not expecting any heroics here, to be honest. But they may well prove me wrong. No. Beyond hasn't managed to do that, and neither has Irene, as Sephi is there to mop up. That's going to help her frag tally. She's on 10 now. Selen double that on 20, leading the way. Does make you wonder if her performances are regularly like this, why the new team have decided not to retain her services, even if she can't play quite as regularly as the rest of them. Notice in Sephi's statement that she highly rates Selen as a player. As Lil San goes down. So Julie up on the short area leading the charge, and she manages to grab Zaz and Shushu before Irene grabs her. And got backup coming in behind. Sephi Galil in hand steps out, and nice work, able to just drag the mouse down and pick up that frag below the site. Got the bomb for company, and a player watching short. Kathy, last girl standing once again, and walks straight into Sonia's AWP scope. 12-7 in favour of Druidz. So far all rounds going in their favour. That is 4 rounds in total. Finances aren't great for the CTs either. They're going to have to eco this one. By doing that, and judging by the number of rounds that be going against them, if they lose this, it should give them the possibility to buy for the next 2 rounds, even if they do lose round 6. So a little bit in money management, but if they do get to that point, they are up against it. with Druidz one round away from the draw. Nice work from Lil San, grabbing Irene through the door. That is a sick shot. Surprised that didn't come up as a headshot, but no such luck. Shushu going down as well. She's been struggling for form here. I'm about bored with Lil San. She puts a couple of bullets into Beyond, but Sonia's AWP, the big gun, is what is needed to pick up the kill in the end. Druidz pouring mass over the A site. But Zaz coming in behind. He's able to grab Lil San from behind. So that is revenge for the frag she managed to make way back in the first half, coming in and grabbing one of the alternate players from behind. So where's Kathy coming in from? She's already in save mode. A little bit of miscommunication there. She's keeping hold of that AK in the lower tunnels. A little bit surprising then that Zaz decided to go for that one. That means they will have one weapon and will be able to buy for the next couple of rounds. That save will have done them some favours, I guess. But if they don't win this, they will be sitting on 14 and 7. So a lot of pressure on that buy round at 14-7. They would have to make sure they win that. Otherwise, it will be buy what you can to try and defend the draw. Kathy taken down to about half HP, just over. Throws a molly into the B tunnels, but not particularly useful, as we haven't seen either team go aggressive on the B site and go for any real pushes. Sefi steps and tries to look for an opportunity as Selen goes down, grabbed by Shushu's AWP. Sonia steps in and very quickly corrects that, brings it back even. Zal's with the nade, and Irene, the two of them working well on short, cutting down Lil San and Sefi. Juliet Barrels, or what used to be Palm Tree, picks up a frag on Irene, one of the players that stepped out. Maybe their job was done with two already grabbed at short and should have been a little more passive and stepped back to the site. It's fine where Sonia is. She's got that AWP and has managed to bring it up onto the A site. Julie steps in behind. Goes for the safe plant onto the A site. Now it's whether they can hold this. Sonia with a pick on Kathy makes a very, very strong start to that. Beyond's going to be stepping long, and Zaz from short. So they are going to try the pincer movement. Sonia's safe behind the box. Has only got long to worry about. And missing the shot doesn't help. Beyond is able to grab her, and Zaz cut down. So 1v1, tense. And Beyond, even though she has been lacking somewhat in frags, comes out with a big play there and made the AWP Sonia miss her shot. Didn't mess around picking up the frag afterwards, didn't give her a chance to fire off another AWP shot, and then in a tense 1v1 was able to pick up that final kill on the site. So really nice work there. As Beyond still sitting there on 7 and 16, an abysmal first half display, and Shushu at 7 and 17 showing the same kind of form in the first half, which has dug them into a bit of a hole. Selen's still leading the way, but Julie and Sonia slowly starting to catch up. Sefi and Lil San holding up their ends. Not really involved in the action too much, but getting the frags when they're needed. Kathy with the auto sniper, so an expensive buy. Slowly starting to cash in with one straight away. She gets Julie. Let's get on board with this auto sniper in the tunnels for a second. Are we going to see Get Right in disguise here? Okay, that's not very interesting. Let's move on. So mid to B action as Zaz gets one. And Irene also grabs Sonia, who is stuck on a pistol in the mid-doors area. Beyond taken down to very low, so it's Selen, last girl alive, for a very short period before she's taken down, trying to make entry into the B site. And Alternate have a couple of rounds on the spin here. They are going to be facing a full buy. See if Sonia can do anything with the pick through mid-doors. Doesn't take either shot, steps in behind the wall, so interesting choice. We are going to see maybe a more aggressive play into B here. Julie peeks the angle. got Molotov rather than smoke to worry about, but Kathy is there with auto sniper in hand, and she is channeling Get Right there with one frag already, and that's going to no doubt put the rest of the players off from attempting into B. Selen is dropping out with the bomb. 5 versus 3 against, and they've got to decide where they want to go. Selen trying to make the shot onto short, but had her teammate jumping around. Nice work from Selen. I didn't even see Irene's head there, but she was able to find it. Seffi with a kill, Sonia with a kill, and from 4v2 in favour of Alternate, it is 3v2 in favour of Druidz now, and with a clear B site, they will scamper in and get the plant. Oh, nice work though. Good work from Beyond. Spamming through the smoke and was able to get the crosser, so that's going to change things a bit. Seffi is able to get the plant down. Sonia with York trying to watch both angles, and not too keen on this setup they've got going. Drops back behind the big box. Seffi does a nice job though, grabbing Beyond, stepping in the window, and they've only got the door to worry about, which Sonia is able to pick up. So nice work, 14-9. I was a little bit worried with the setup, as I said, because we've got Sonia there, and we've also got Seffi under the window, both S's, very clever. And from that point, Sonia found herself fairly exposed from both the window and the door angles. Seffi had to sort of look up to try and see the window. If her teammate went down, then she could have been quite easily swamped by the two players. But it turns out they're able to make it work. Seffi got the frag at the window, and Sonia was able to keep alive long enough just to make sure they only had one angle to be concerned about. Julie goes down early once again, and that's Zaz creating that opportunity. Also have the chance to reset the CT money. Would be a vital time to do it. Take it to 10-14, upset the Druid spend pattern. Selen gets one. That's Beyond stepping out without even a gun in hand out of the lower area and going on the fast rotate. Something must have been called, and it was called wrongly from that point. Kathy down to very low HP. Shushu gets a frag on Seffi, and Irene jumps off a short, grabbing Sonia as well. So Lil San, what can she do as the last alive? Absolutely nothing. It is 10-14. Druids find themselves, no doubt, having to eco here, and that is exactly what they do. Little pistol upgrade for those that were slightly richer. Let's give you guys a little look at the scoreboards, and we see a boost, 2 players up short, 2 down and into B, and that's where it's going to be going. Seffi gets the entry frag. No, that's Selen. Seffi did a vast majority of the damage though. Beyond gets 2 from the car area before she's cut down. Seffi's picked up an AK from one of the CT players that dropped that one, and he's just holding vigil at the window, expecting there to be some action coming in there, and there is. That smoke at the door is going to give Druidz a little bit of room to manoeuvre as Lil Sam gets the plant. Sonia comes in late through the tunnels to back up. And it's down to Alternate, and if they can launch a proper take back here. Flash goes in from Zaz. Are they going to work off that? Not fast enough. Sonia gets one. Sonia gets a second. Nice work with the pistol. But Zaz is able to step in with 2 frags of her own, and Shushu chipped in. So thought they might have been a little bit hesitant acting on that first flash, but turned out they're able to pull it together. Nice work from Sonia with a pistol picking up 2. Those should have been frags that her teammates should have picked up though, from window and from door respectively. So she'll be looking to them and asking where the support was, and Druidz will be going on an AK buy now. Selen's still leading the way. Sonia and Julie keeping close tabs on her though. Not letting her get too far away as Julie helps her cause with a frag on Beyond. And plant does go in. A very aggressive, fast push into B has worked out well. All players still alive. Selen gets 1. Selen gets 2. That's one way to stop any action at mid, and does some serious damage to Shushu. It's down to 30 HP. Gotta save this one. Just keep hold of whatever weapons you can. Zaz can afford to buy. Kathy and Irene are going to be on scrub buys. Beyond, again, going to be in trouble. Will be in a buy what you can situation, I would think. Well, the Druidz players hunt, yes they will, and is Sephi able to get the frag and sort of pin Shushu in there? She stepped towards the long area thinking there wouldn't be someone there, and that is exactly where she was. Nice work going in from behind. So this could be all then. 15-11 in favour of Druidz. Will they go for an aggressive push into B? No, they're not going to. Is Kathy going to try and walk through and get aggressive? Try and change the balance? It looked like she was thinking about it for a minute. Zaz down in the lower area. Could get herself in a bit of trouble with this Mag 7 if she's spotted in there. Just got to time this right, and she does. Gets one. That's Sephi going down. Had an opportunity to grab Sonia, and that could have been a game changer, but it wasn't in the end, and didn't do too much damage with that Mag 7, and it's still 4 versus 4. Shushu with the Nova in hand, and it's very quickly cut down. Trying to sit behind corners is a good plan with guns like that. It can work out well for you. But then again, these players will be checking as Julie grabs Irene from behind. Lack of game sense, really, as she didn't expect that particular play. Sonia grabs beyond. So it's down to Kathy, who has so frequently been the last player alive for alternate. Hasn't pulled off too many clutches from these situations either. Not that I want to compound the pressure. Finally steps up, left it just a little bit too late though, and that is good half called. 16-11 go in favour of Druidz. Second map will be on Inferno. I will bring that to you in a separate video which should be uploaded today or in the next day or so, I would hope. And without giving too much away, I haven't seen the game itself, but I have seen the score, and we could be in for a pretty good one there. This has been Crossy of Eclipse Gaming TV. Sorry about that. Still in the very early stages of bringing you live-ish gaming action. Going to be limited solely to YouTube because of my terabad internet connection when it comes to streaming. Any feedback that you guys have got for me on the technical side or things you'd like to improve, then feel free to drop those in the comments section, and I'll do my best to help out. And yes, getting dual comms with another commentator would be the dream that I will work on and use a few contacts and see if we can get some things going. But yeah, for the time being, please throw a thumbs up to the video if you've enjoyed this one, and subscribe to the Eclipse Gaming TV channel, as well as CSGO. There'll be some other non-FPS related action. You'll see there's a lot of FM 2014 stuff, which is kind of waylaid me from getting the FPS stuff going, to be honest. So that's all there for you, and hopefully you will enjoy. In the meantime though, thanks for watching, and I will catch you for map 2 very soon.